What's up, fellas? I just got done watching Monday Night Raw. Not a bad episode, especially for a go-home show for Fastlane. The Triple H segment that they did with Ric Flair wasn't bad. The stuff with Bryan and Roman actually wasn't too bad. The character development, or the ongoing storyline in Miz and Mizdow is probably the best storyline in the WWE right now. So, mostly inoffensive, not a terrible episode of Raw, which at this point in time, not terrible is actually a step in the right direction. So, I'll take it. I should also note, speaking of Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns, I did watch SmackDown last week. I know, shocking. The first SmackDown that I've watched in God knows how long. There was just a lot of hype surrounding this tag team turmoil match that they did, so I thought, what the hell, I'll check it out and see what all the fuss is about. And yeah, it's a fun match. I don't know if I'd say it's like an instant favorite of mine or anything, but for a show that I haven't watched in years, especially on a regular basis, it was a fairly enjoyable show, and the main event was good. And as it turns out, much like the brawl at the end of the Super Bowl, much like the Aztec Warfare match, in an odd way, this was actually a better Royal Rumble than the Royal Rumble this year. So we've had a lot of those recently, and actually TNA's doing a gauntlet to determine the number one contender. I wonder if that match will be better than the Royal Rumble as well. It seems to be somewhat of a pattern lately. But anyway, the big thing I did want to talk about this week, or in this video, as I said last week, I am going to review both New Japan New Beginning shows. Their first show was in Osaka on the 11th, and their second show was in Sendai on the 14th, Valentine's Day, which, by the way, I hope you all had a good Valentine's Day. I had a shitball weekend just all around. It has nothing to do with broken hearts or dating or anything like that. Well, it does a little bit, but not like a tremendous heartbreak or anything like that. I just had a three-ring circus of a weekend where anything that could have possibly gone wrong went wrong, basically. And it was a 3-day weekend, too, so even better. Although, good thing, it snowed where I am, so I actually don't have to go into work tomorrow. So that's actually a really good thing. So, anyway, got sidetracked. I watched both shows. And is it weird that I know Japanese geography because of kaiju films? Because I know Osaka, Godzilla and Anguirus destroyed it in Godzilla Raids Again, and Sendai, Gamera and Legion destroyed it in Gamera 2. You know, it's weird. I know Japanese geography through kaiju films. Don't judge me. Anyway, both shows. I watched them not live because that was impossible, but I did watch them over the course of the weekend, and I've got a lot to say on both shows, mainly as a whole. Not as good as Wrestle Kingdom 9. That's right off the bat. I wasn't expecting it to be because that's an impossible standard to live up to so soon after that show took place. It's kind of like NXT. I enjoyed Rival a lot, but it's not as good as our Evolution, because how the fuck can you be as good as our Evolution? That's an impossible standard to reach almost. To do that caliber of show back to back, although NXT did definitely put their best foot forward to at least try and do that. These shows, though, they're not bad, and I don't want to sound like I'm being overly negative here. But once again, the language barrier was definitely an issue. At least it is for me. I can't speak for every American fan out there, but for me, it's a lot harder to follow when I can't understand what's being said. And I keep going back to it, but JR and Stryker on commentary for Wrestle Kingdom 9, they did such a great job of putting over the talents and their individual personalities and their individual backstories and everything. And that just sort of gets lost when you don't know what they're saying. Jushin Liger, for example, Jushin Liger on night 2 cut a post-match promo where I assumed, and correctly assumed, that he was offering a title shot to Tiger Mask for the NWA Junior Heavyweight Championship. But that was just a guess on my part, just based on body language and all sorts of things. And so, I'm not stupid. I can kind of somewhat figure out what's going on. But I do have a hard time. Again, that language barrier is tough. And, of course, I did use New Japan World to do this because they offered it for free. So I did get both of these shows for free. So it's not like I have too much to complain about. But it's just it is an issue. And it is that's a hard thing to get across. And if New Japan is thinking about breaking into the American market, I think doing an English version of New Japan World would definitely help. Would be a good route to go. Obviously, they have the show on XS TV, and that has English commentary, and it's very good, very well produced. Wrestle Kingdom 9 had English commentary, and that just made it so much easier to follow the stories and follow the matches as they were happening, and learn who everybody was and everything. So that's one thing that I wanted to talk about. But another major issue with both shows, there were way too many tag matches, way too many six-man tags and all sorts of things. It kind of reminded me of WrestleMania 2000, which, if you've never seen WrestleMania 2000, that card is loaded and bloated with battle royals and tag matches and everything else you could possibly imagine, to the point that there's only one singles match on the entire show. It's Terry and the Cat. And even that match has a special guest referee. So, I mean, just everything, every bell and whistle that they could possibly do to get everybody on that card was pretty, it was overkill, to say the least. And I get it, it was the Attitude Era and everybody was over back then, which if you couldn't get over in the Attitude Era, there was something seriously wrong with you. But yeah, they tried way too hard to cram everybody onto that card. And these two New Japan shows aren't as bad as that, but there's a lot of examples of tag matches. There were tag matches in night 1 that were used to further build into the matches from night 2, but to me, it's kind of like that same booking that you get on Raw that I criticize, and you see it in TNA a lot as well, and I'm sure SmackDown does it if I actually watch SmackDown. But they'll do things like they'll take 2 or 3 pay-per-view matches and combine them all into one match to make a tag match, or whether it be 2-on-2 or 3-on-3 or 4-on-4 or whatever. And to me, that's kind of giving away the match before the show. Again, for example, Jushin Thunder Liger defended the NWA Junior Heavyweight Championship in night 2. Rob Conway was defending the NWA World Heavyweight Championship in night 2 as well. So on night 1, they had a tag match between the 2 New Japan guys and the 2 NWA guys. And to me, the first match, the night 1 tag match, is kind of pointless because you've already set up the two title matches. And this is more my both American and my old school thinking. I would be thinking, well, instead of doing the tag match on night 1, let's do some kind of a segment or promo or something to advertise what's going to be on night 2 and further build into that, whether it be a contract signing or whatever. I mean, or even just a video package or something, just to let everyone know what's going to be on night 2 and do something to build excitement to it. Or do Jushin Thunder Liger versus some other guy that has nothing to do, or not even Jushin Thunder Liger or Rob Conway or Tiger Mask or whatever. Just have them fight somebody to give them a win to make them look strong heading into the title match at night 2. That way you're getting it. Because to me, there was a lot of repetition on both cards. Another example, Okada and Bad Luck Fale have a feud going on right now, at least best from what I could gather. They have a feud going on right now based off of Okada's string of bad luck, shall we say, following his big loss to Tanahashi at Wrestle Kingdom 9. Okay, all well and good. Do you really need to have them face each other in 2 tag matches on both shows? I mean, that seems like overkill. Just do one tag match and have, or maybe do a tag match and then a singles match at night 2 or so, which kind of goes against what I just said. But yeah, to me, it's like, try and make the cards different. Don't, there was just way too much repetition going on. The main event of night 2 was Nakamura versus Yuji Nagata, and on night 1 they had a tag match. So just a lot of that going on, and it really made it feel like a lot of the matches were either filler or unimportant or just not just not needed. And yeah, and I get that these are 2 4-hour shows, and you got to fill that time somehow. And I do get that New Japan does have an extensive roster that is very talented. And I'm sure the wrestlers don't mind because they get 2 paydays out of it. But it just, I guess this is just more my mentality. It's just that there's no reason to kind of repeat matches, on back-to-back shows and kind of do things that way. But again, that's just more my thinking. Again, I'm not saying both shows were bad. I'm just saying there was a lot of material on both that could have been cut, and I think the shows would have come off better because the material that was good and did add to the show would have had more time to breathe, or it would have been given more of a spotlight instead of kind of getting lost in the shuffle among two 10-match cards. I mean, that's 20 matches over the course of 8 hours. I mean, that's a lot of material. And actually, as I'm going to review these, I actually have all of the matches written down because there was no way on earth I was going to remember all of this off the top of my head. But, yeah, just to start things off, I think I liked the Osaka show more. Overall, I think there were more matches that I really enjoyed, and that show felt bigger. And night 2, again, most of the card kind of felt either repetitive from night 1 or just didn't really do it for me, except for the final 2 matches, which were the Never Openweight Championship and the IC Championship match. The last 2 matches on night 2 were very good. But I felt like night 1 was a more complete show and was more exciting for that. And plus, because it was the first one I watched, I was, again, 8 hours, 20 matches, kind of taxing. So it was hard to space all that out and watch all that together. But jumping into the Osaka show, one thing I did want to comment on, and I know I just said that Osaka was the better of the 2 shows, but the opener is one of the most bizarre openers I have ever seen to a wrestling show ever, and just a poor choice to open up the show. Sho Tanaka defeating Yohei Komatsu. Again, sorry if I'm butchering the pronunciations here. Face each other in the opening match. Again, this is where the language barrier comes into play. I have no idea who these 2 guys are. Not a clue. I've never heard of them. I've never seen them before. I have no idea who they are. And everything being in Japanese, I'm not going to learn who they are. But it's like, okay, I don't know who they are. Let's see if I can get a sense of who they are while watching this match. Both guys dress exactly the same. Short black trunks. And I'm not looking down on guys that wear the short black trunks. I'm just saying both guys dress exactly the same and almost look the same in terms of build as well. And I'm not being racist here. If Tanahashi, Okada, and Nakamura are all in the ring together, I'm going to know who each one of them are. Even if I didn't know who they were initially, I would be able to spot out, well, I would never mistake one for the other, basically. But there were points in this match where Tanaka and, again, Komatsu, they were, exchanging moves and chain wrestling and everything, and it's like I lost track of who was who. I don't know who they are. I think their hairstyles are different, and I think Yamatsu was wearing like a protective shoulder padding or something. But other than that, I mean, they looked scarily alike. And I feel sorry for anybody who was in the crowd and watching it on the balcony. I mean, I guess that's where the screen really comes into play, because it was so easy to get confused who was who. And I would never put 2 guys that dress alike together in the ring of the opening match. And this was a terrible choice to win over new audience members, I think, because it's just, you want to start off hot, you want to, get people, integrate them into the show, and you want to start off on the right foot. And here you got 2 guys that left virtually no impression on me, looked alike, and it was just a bizarre experience for an opening match. To me, this should have been a dark match or a filler match in the middle of the show where I could take a piss break. And like I said, neither guy left an impression on me. Tanaka got the win. But it was just a weird experience. Again, that's a combination of the language barrier, which, again, didn't expect this show to be in English because I'm using New Japan World and everything, but it was just everything contributed to making me not enjoy this match, because there was nothing to really latch onto. It was just 2 guys that look alike, changing wrestling holds. I don't know what the story is. I don't know who they are. I don't know what the backstory is. I can't understand what's being said. So I got nothing out of this match. And I'm going on and on about it, but it was just fascinating to me that was the opening match of the show. And it's like, man, couldn't we have started with like the 3-way tag or, like the Okada tag match or something? Like anything that I could okay, I know what that is, or I know who that guy is, and just give me something that I could latch onto. But anyway, that was that. Next up was Mascara Dorada and Tiger Mask taking on Manabu Nakanishi, and Captain New Japan. I remember Nakanishi. I saw him in the TNA Global Impact show that they did back in '08. And he wrestled Abyss, and I remember thinking back then, it's like, yeah, he's one of those guys that he's got a body, and he's got size, and that's about it. And he didn't really impress too much more here either. He's just like, yeah, he's just a big guy, and they use him for his size, and that's about it. Captain New Japan, I do not understand at all. Is he supposed to be a comedy character? I mean, those of you who follow New Japan and have followed it a lot longer than I have, you'll probably no, because his outfit looks terrible, and I'm like, is it supposed to be that comically bad? I mean, I can't imagine anybody naming himself Captain New Japan is meant to be taken that seriously, but who knows? I mean, it's kind of like in the old N64 games, there was THQ Man and Aki Man, and they were just dumb little knockoff characters that they threw out there just to fill out the roster, and you know, characters like, I can't imagine he's meant to be taken that seriously, but I couldn't really tell what the deal was. I do like Mascara Dorada. I thought, you know, bringing his more lucha libre style things, again, it adds something different. That's one of the things I like about New Japan, is they showcase all different types of talents, all different types of styles, and there's no real restrictions in terms of what a wrestler can do inside the ring and how they can structure their matches and everything. And that's something I really do appreciate about the Japanese style of wrestling, is that, and that's one of the problems with WWE, is that they are so restrictive on what guys, how guys are allowed to put their matches together and everything is just mapped out spot for spot, and that's just how it is. And of course, the TV age has really changed that as well, where you got to be in the right position for the camera angles, and I know WWE is very conscious of that. I know TNA is very conscious of that. Whether or not they execute it that well, that's another story. But anyway, simple point. Mascara, I think he brings something different to the show. Him and Tiger Mask got the win, and that was, again, okay little tag match. Then we had the match I talked about. Jushin Thunder Liger and Hiroyoshi Tenzan took on Rob Conway and Chase Owens. New Japan versus NWA. Basic tag match here. The heel, I guess the NWA guys would be considered the heels. Rob Conway and Chase Owens got the win before ultimately losing in night 2, which I'll get into that. Next up was the first match on night 1 that I actually really enjoyed. Kota Ibushi versus Tomoaki Honma. And Honma, by the way, if I had to pick an MVP from both shows, it would be him, because he really shined in both shows. And I'm going to get into what happened in night 2. But in night 1, him and Ibushi went out there and had a killer match. I mean, just a terrific match where Honma was just throwing all sorts of crazy headbutts all over the place. It was just a great match to watch. Ibushi got the win. And, of course, both of them are coming off of, significant matches from Wrestle Kingdom 9, where Honma got like a huge victory, which, again, based on what I understand about him, is that he's a sympathetic favorite and people really like him, but he doesn't win all the time, and he actually lost on both the Osaka show and the Sendai show, but he's really popular and he's really over, and he's got that kind of sympathetic underdog appeal to him. And Ibushi had that amazing match with Nakamura for the IC title, and he lost and came off looking fantastic in defeat. So this was a good spotlight match for both of them. Ibushi got the win, so obviously they're going to continue pushing him into something. And yeah, it was just a very enjoyable match. It was one of the more enjoyable matches on the show. And again, one that kind of took me by surprise a little bit. I wasn't sure what to expect out of that one. I mean, I know Ibushi is very good, and I knew that Honma had charisma, but I hadn't really gotten a full sense of what Honma was like as a worker, and now it's like, oh no, this guy can go. He's really good. So I really enjoyed that match. That was a terrific match. Next up, we got somewhat of a rematch from Wrestle Kingdom 9. Only the Forever Hooligans aren't involved, but Red Dragon defending the IWGP Junior Tag Team Championship against the Young Bucks and the Time Splitters. Again, more of the same of what you'd expect. Great action, great spots. The Time Splitters and the Young Bucks are always doing all sorts of crazy things when they're working together, and Red Dragon are kind of this nice constant that keep the matches grounded in wrestling, and that's one of the things I like about Red Dragon, and just a really good action-packed match, and that's really what you would expect from something like this. The Young Bucks won the titles, which was a little surprising. It actually became a theme throughout the show, as the Bullet Club was very successful throughout the night, and that's one of the reasons I like the Osaka show more, is because there was that through line of the Bullet Club gaining dominance. They won all 4 of their title matches, and gave it a nice story to kind of tie the whole show together, and that's something that the Osaka show did very well. So the Young Bucks walked out the new IWGP Junior Tag Team Champions. Then we got another rematch from Wrestle Kingdom 9. Kenny Omega defending the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship against Taguchi. A lot of people didn't like their match from Wrestle Kingdom 9. A lot of people don't seem to like the match that they had here. I thought it was okay. It was about as good as the Wrestle Kingdom 9 match. They don't have the greatest chemistry. I don't think Taguchi is really that special, at least based on these two matches that I've seen. I kind of want Omega to start working with different guys. Of course, he's going to be working with Mascara Dorada based on what we saw on both shows here. So that's another match that they're going to build up to. And I think it's just weird that the Junior Heavyweight Championship, which you kind of equate with great action, great fast-paced wrestling, and it's really like, I don't know, these matches with Taguchi and Omega just aren't really capturing that. Again, they're not terrible, but they're just kind of, they're okay. But it is what it is. Bullet Club gets another win. Kenny Omega walks out, retains the championship. And next we have the six-man tag team match that I alluded to. Kazuchika Okada, Sakuraba, and Toru Yano versus members of the Bullet Club, Bad Luck Fale, Tama Tonga, and Yujiro Takahashi. This is the only match on the show that the Bullet Club didn't win, so they really wanted this to be a heel-centric show, but Okada got his win. And kind of made up for his big loss at Wrestle Kingdom 9 and all the losses he's suffered since then, and he's back into his winning ways, basically. So, again, good, solid six-man tag, and Okada's presence kind of elevates it beyond being just a normal tag team match. So, there was that. Next, we had another six-man tag match. Again, way too many tag matches on this show. Yuji Nagata, Tetsuya Naito, and Satsushi Kojima versus Tomohiro Ishii, Yoshihashi, and Shinsuke Nakamura, the IC champion. Again, previewing matches that are going to happen the next night, namely Nagata versus Nakamura. It was just very basic in terms of just doing that. Team Nagata got the win, which, again, there was a lot of that going on, kind of that Raw booking. It's like, well, the guy that wins on Raw is going to lose at the pay-per-view, and you kind of got that here where, well, the guys that won the tag matches in night one tended to lose in night two. So, again, it created some very predictable booking, I thought. So, I wasn't a fan of that either. The match was okay. Again, a lot of these tag matches kind of looked the same after a while, but it was okay. And it was good to see Nagata, that he's still in shape, because I haven't seen him since his match with Kurt Angle back in 2008, and he's still in shape, and old man can still go. So, I mean, yay, good for him. Next, we got the IWGP Tag Team Championship. The new champions, Hiroki Goto and Katsuyori Shibata, defended the titles against Doc Gallows and Carl Anderson of the Bullet Club, and they lost the championships that they just won a little over a month ago, which was kind of surprising. This was one of the more surprising title changes on the show, but again, when they have that continuing story of the Bullet Club winning all their title matches on one show, it was kind of like, okay, it was kind of obvious that they were going to win, but it was just kind of strange. It's like they just won the titles, and normally New Japan, they give their guys somewhat lengthy title reigns, but this was a good tag match. Again, probably a little better than the match they had at Wrestle Kingdom 9. Just a really good action-packed tag match with the heels going over again. And, sucks for Goto and Shibata, but bad guys got to go over. So, again, good solid match here. And then we had the main event of Hiroshi Tanahashi defending the IWGP World Championship against AJ Styles. And AJ Styles would win the championship and become the new IWGP champion, completing the sweep of championship matches for the Bullet Club. This was a great match. I really enjoyed this. I've been told that they had matches in the past, and obviously Tanahashi won the title off of AJ, but I've been told that their matches before, they've had two main events before this, and I was told that those are better. And this is actually the weakest match that they had. I'm like, really? Because this one was pretty damn good. And I really enjoyed it. So, again, it's just great to see AJ Styles in a different setting and working with guys that complement his style really well. And Tanahashi's obviously very good and great. And it was just a very enjoyable main event, and as kind of the capstone to the Bullet Club's dominance of the night. It was a very strong ending to the show, I thought, and just all sorts of great action. A lot of their counters were very cool. A lot of again, it amazes me with Tanahashi, like the different ways he hits the high fly flow. It was like you wouldn't think that a frog splash would be that versatile of a move, but he manages to do it and does it really well. And the Styles Clash has gotten over as like the most dangerous move in wrestling, at least from New Japan's standpoint, and that's very cool. And again, it was just cool to see the. AJ Styles is essentially the top bad guy now, and now he's holding on to the main title. So it'll be interesting to see who faces him next. That's what I'm looking forward to. It's again just a very good main event, great ending to night 1, and that leads me into night 2, the show in Sendai. Again, opening match not very strong. Captain New Japan and Manabu Nakanishi versus Kojima and Komatsu. Again, just a very basic tag match, and I don't like Nakanishi that much, and I don't like Captain New Japan because I don't fully understand Captain New Japan or if he's supposed to be a comedy character, great, but if he's not, I mean, that suit looks terrible. So, he was actually on the Access show, they showed one of his matches, and I was like, who the fuck is this guy? But again, I'm learning, I'm still trying to get acclimated to the full New Japan product. I don't know who everybody is yet, but I'm getting there. Next up was another very basic tag match. Red Dragon took on Tiger Mask and Jay White. I have no idea who the fuck Jay White is, but again, it was nice to see Red Dragon in a match that wasn't just kind of like one of those like 3 or 4 team spot festy matches, because Red Dragon is a very good team. I've watched them for a while now, and they can really go in the ring, and a lot of the things they do are just great. And this match was solid, just to give them a win and let them look strong doing it. So I was like, all right, that was fine. Mascara Dorada and the Time Splitters then took on members of the Bullet Club in a 6-man tag, Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. Again, this is where Dorada and Omega's feud is really starting, because Dorada got the win over Omega in the tag match, so you're going to be seeing that for the Junior Heavyweight Championship most likely. And again, Young Bucks and Time Splitters, we saw it in Night 1, we saw it at Wrestle Kingdom 9, so it's getting a little repetitive at this point, but, they go out there and they just have great athletic moments and athletic spots. And I thought Dorada did very well in this match as well. They did a very creative version of kind of the spot that you see in all of these matches now, where guys dive onto the it's like a giant dog pile, basically, where people are diving outside of the ring onto the group of people. But I thought the way they did it here, I thought was very good. And I like Dorada, so I want to see more of him. So him getting a championship match against Omega, I mean, that can only be a good thing, right? So there's that. Next up, we got the 2 NWA Championship matches. First of those was Jushin Thunder Liger defending against Chase Owens. He was defending the NWA Junior Heavyweight Championship. Good match. Liger still looks good. He's got to be 50 years old at this point, and for him to be working the way he does at his age is pretty remarkable. It makes me wonder if there really are different people under that mask, but he really is a legendary figure, and he's amazing. He's a marvel, I think. And good match here, and Liger got the win, and this is where I correctly assumed, even though I couldn't understand what was being said, that his next title defense is going to be against Tiger Mask, which that could be a really good match and really fun. So good for them on that one, so that's fine. Then we got Rob Conway defending the NWA World Championship against Hiroyoshi Tenzan. And first of all, Rob Conway was one of those guys that the WWE had that I thought, there's potential there, but he's not going to reach it with the way he's being booked. And again, he was one of those guys that got fed to old people every week, and then people just kind of shrug their shoulders and wonder why he's not getting over. It's like, well, because he gets his ass kicked all the time. That's why, and that hurts. And it's weird seeing him as the NWA World Champion. I mean, when you consider that's the belt that Ric Flair held and Dusty Rhodes held, and now in that lineage is Rob Conway, one of the, the third member of La Resistance. It's just really weird. Not that I'm dissing Rob Conway. He's a good talent, and this match wasn't bad. I thought this was actually a pretty good match as well. And Tenzan, much to my surprise, got the win, which that was probably the most shocking title win of the 2 shows. I was like, whoa, Tenzan is the NWA World Champion. I guess we'll be seeing some more NWA World Title matches in New Japan, so that'll be very cool. And Tenzan's very good and very cool and has a great look and everything, so he's a very marketable champion. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see where that goes. Then we got Kota Ibushi and Tetsuya Naito versus Sakuraba and Yano in a tag match. Again, Ibushi's great, Naito's great, and I thought they made it a good team, but again, it's kind of, all right, all these tag matches are starting to look the same at this point, so it was kind of like wash, rinse, and repeat. I've seen way too many tag matches. Okay, by this point, this was what? This was match 16 of the two shows, and up to this point, I've seen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 tag matches. So this is the 10th tag match I've seen up to this point. There are actually more tag matches than there are singles matches between the two shows. So this one, again, Ibushi and Naito look good and everything, but it's very repetitive at this point. They got the win, which is great. Next up was actually one of the better tag matches because there's actually like a theme, I guess, even though I already criticized Okada and Bad Luck Fale's tag matches happening on both shows. They probably should have cut it out of night one and just let this match be the one, especially since it's Chaos versus the Bullet Club, where Okada's teaming up with one of his Chaos teammates, Yoshihashi, and then the Bullet Club, it's Bad Luck Fale teaming up with Takahashi. And, yeah, this one, because of that, I think because both guys had common grounds with their stables, I think this one came off better than most of the other tag matches on the show and was actually good. Of course, once again, Okada gets the win and continues to be built up past his current defeats. So, yeah, again, good, solid tag match. And what else is there to say, really? Then you got another fucking tag match. The last one, thankfully. Hiroshi Tanahashi, Hiroki Goto, and Shibata taking on Doc Gallows, Carl Andrews, and Tama Tonga of the Bullet Club. Obviously, this is Tanahashi getting a win. The faces won, get at least some measure of revenge on the Bullet Club for costing him the World Heavyweight title. Again, good match, good action overall, but very repetitive at this point. You know, moving on. Good solid match. Then we get the two main events, which were very strong. And I should note that one of the reasons I wanted to check out the New Beginning shows is that one of the rematches for Wrestle Kingdom 9 that they were going to do was Tomohiro Ishii versus Togi Makabe for the Never Openweight Championship. And I loved that match at Wrestle Kingdom 9. So, hell yeah, I wanted to see it again for free. And much to my disappointment, Hanma walks out for the Never Openweight Championship match. I'm like, what the fuck is Hanma doing out there? And then Ishii comes out, and I'm like, well, where the fuck is Makabe? What's going on here? So immediately I paused the video, and I went to Google, and I'm like, where the fuck is Makabe? What happened to the Never Openweight Championship match? And it turns out that Makabe got the flu and could not make it to the event that night, so they stripped him of the Never Openweight Championship, and the winner of Ishii versus Hanma would win the vacant title. And I was so disappointed because I wanted to see Makabe versus Ishii for the Never Openweight Championship. I wanted to see that match again, so when it didn't happen, I was like, oh, that's lame. It's not New Japan's fault or anything. It's just one of those situations where, like, well, what do you do? I remember TNA had Lockdown back in 2010, and Douglas Williams was supposed to defend the X Division title, and they had that problem with the volcano, and all flights were delayed or whatever, and he couldn't make it to the event. So they ultimately decided to strip him of the title and just hold a three-way to determine the new X Division champion. And I defended TNA for doing that because it's like, what do you do in that situation? Because if you don't have the X title match, people are going to bitch that there was no X title match. And the only option is to really just do the best with what you have. It sucks no matter what you do, but it's not really your fault either, so there's that. And so this wasn't like New Japan's fault or anything. It was just unfortunate because that was the match I really wanted, and I was like, oh man, I'm not going to get it. The good news is that Hanma and Ishii went out there and had an awesome match, probably the best match from both shows. Just went out there and just tore it down. Just a really good stiff, a lot of headbutts, a lot of clotheslines, a lot of hard hits, a lot of action. Just went out there and had a hell of a match. And it took me from this disappointed state where I was like, aw, and by the end of it, I was like, yeah, this match is fucking awesome. and just really good. And again, Hanma, he's probably the MVP of both shows because he did great. He had the match, arguably had the match of the night on both shows, and that's really good. And again, New Japan made a great call by actually putting somebody who is very over and very popular into this situation to, again, create the best situation possible and make up for the fact that Makabe is being stripped of the title and everything. Ishii won the match. He's the new never openweight champion, and now we're probably going to get that rematch, Ishii and Makabe, at some point, I would imagine, just to determine who is the true never openweight champion, which is, I mean, that's a tried and true storyline. I mean, that's like Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon from '94, basically, where they fought over the Intercontinental title. But yeah, I did want to put this match over. It's a terrific match. It was great, and again, it's arguably the best match from both shows. So really, really good there. And then you had the main event of Nakamura versus Yuji Nagata for the Intercontinental title. I knew Nakamura was going to win. I mean, that wasn't much of a shock. There was no way that Nagata was going to take the title off of him, especially since Nakamura is so red hot right now. But Nagata's still in great shape, and they went out there and had a pretty good match. I thought it was a pretty solid main event overall. I love it whenever Nagata locks in that armbar and has that psychotic look on his face. I mean, that is so cool. And so he looks so sick and twisted when he does it. I just love that. That's fantastic. But yeah, the main event was pretty good. It was a solid title match, and there's really not much else to say. It was just a really good match with a result that was obvious. There was no way Nakamura was going to lose, but still a very strong main event and still a really good ending to a good show. So both shows overall were good. Again, it was just a lot of... They could have chewed the fat a little bit and trimmed it down and have the shows flow better, I think, because like I said, there was a lot of repetition. Actually, one thing that I noticed in night one is that Nakanishi did the double suplex spot in his tag match, and then later in the show, I think it was Bad Luck Fale. No, it was Doc Gallows, I think. It was either Doc Gallows or Bad Luck Fale. I don't remember which one. Again, they're all starting to run together after a while. Did the double suplex spot. I'm like, do you really want to do that spot twice on one show? I mean, that's kind of... Again, you know what I'm saying. But from night one, I thought Ibushi versus Hanma was very good. I thought Tanahashi and AJ Styles was very good. And from night two, I thought Ishii versus Hanma was very good. And I thought Nagata versus Nakamura was pretty good. So you had... From both shows, you did have at least 4 or 5 really strong matches. And overall, it's just that, again, too many tag matches, too much repetition, and because of that, it made the shows feel a little too bloated and a little too repetitive. But overall, neither show was bad, and like I said, I watched them for free, so yay. Bully for me. But overall, that's all I have to say now. New Japan, I know they're getting ready to do the New Japan Cup. They've announced the brackets and everything, so I'm going to try and check out some of that as well. And hopefully I enjoy that as well. One of the big New Japan tournaments, and I definitely want to catch the G1 Climax later in the year. I've never seen one of those. So that's going to be a treat to actually experience that as well. So, yeah, New Japan, like I said, neither show was stellar, but neither one was bad either. And if you're a fan of New Japan, I assume you're going to enjoy both shows anyway, regardless of any of my complaints against them. But yeah, phew, got through all of that. That was long and very long-winded and everything. But yes, got through both of those shows. I will be back later this week with another video. Not sure what it's going to be. Might be a preview for Fastlane. I'm not sure yet. But again, we'll find out. I'll find out when you do. Maybe I'll just turn on the camera and make something random. Who knows? But yeah, that's all I have for now. Y'all have a good week. If you live in the you live in the Northeast or in the East Coast or anything, be careful. The snow's getting really treacherous. We got hit with a freak blizzard on Valentine's Day that really kind of fucked over all my plans. But again, it is what it is. I had a wacky weekend. But again, if you are being hit with snow or inclement weather or anything, stay safe, be careful. Hope you all enjoy your week, and I will be back later, so stay tuned.